Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to present today. My name is Josh Arnold. Um, I'm a freelance web developer. I've always enjoyed programming, like since I was a kid. But I just started doing it, dropping things. Just started doing it more seriously in the last couple of years, and so I'm here. So today I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the awesome of server components and client components. So let me set this up to see if it'll let me, just so I can read my notes at the same time. How many of you use server components, like when on a daily basis? Couple? Yeah, yeah. No?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, next. Yeah, that's what we're going to be using today. Apparently it won't let me do that. Okay, well, let's go off memory then. So I started learning about server components, and they're really neat. Being able to render things on the client and then render things on the server. And seeing some of the differences was really interesting to me. So at first I thought server components were more of like a new thing, but I guess um, more so they're kind of like how the internet was kind of, yeah.
We talking next server React.
Um, Probably next, but yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm using Next in the project, um, but I guess maybe I don't understand the difference.
I mean, like they're basically the same. I just know that React just introduced server.
Yeah, yeah, but
They still are.
yeah, no, you're fine. Um, so I guess it's more the concept that's kind of been around since the beginning of the internet. Servers have always kind of, sent the files and rendered the files to deliver a web page. Um, so yeah, early web pages were static and the server side, and they were rendered on the server or sent to the client. And there wasn't much user interaction, pretty basic. Over time, we kind of shifted towards like client side rendering that offered a lot more user operability. You could use things and change things dynamically in the client. So yeah, it allowed for more user interaction, but uh, resulted in slower load times and SEO difficulties. Um, so yeah, so now it's uh, like in Next, right, where there's a difference between the client components and the server components and how they're rendered. Um, and we will, yeah, it offers faster load times and better SEO. So I built this little kind of demonstration between the two. So we have the SSR load time, server side render, and then the client side load time. And so, we're going to think, type, and then search. And the SSR, you know, loaded a little faster there. So when I was doing this, I was thinking like, what does it mean to render? Um, so the definition, there were quite a few definitions when I looked up the definition for render. Um, one of which was to represent. another was to depict, and another was to process. When I saw these three definitions, this is kind of what came to my mind was HTML, CSS, JavaScript, read HTML to lay it out. That kind of represents it. Depict it, what does it look like? And then process it, gives us our operability. And so today, more or less, we put all that together, and for the most part, we're using React. So we're going to use JSX or TSX. So we're going to use that, and then we're going to render something for the end user. And we do that with components. And so we use components to kind of break things up, right? Like we don't repeat ourselves. We're able to make things work dynamically, makes it more data-driven. And so then that brings us back here to where another definition, cause to be or become. And right now, we're not really sending anything to the client. So it's sad. So another definition was to give, provide, or deliver. And that sounded a lot like a server to me. So have a little server here. And React it's gonna do quite a bit of stuff for us. It's gonna take all that code that we represent, we depict and process, and then it's gonna bundle it all for us. It's gonna build it on the server. Okay, that's a little thing there. And then we connect to the internet. And then once it's connected to the internet, let's see. So what's next? There we go. Okay, so now we have our little postman guy, and he's gonna, send things to the client, and that's how our web page is going to be served. Some of the components, right? Client components, they have to be rendered on the server. They're already built and bundled and stuff by React on the server, but they have to be sent to the client to then be assembled, more or less. So we have this animation here, it sends it over, and then the client will build it. And that's what this little web form is here. And then other components, we can kind of just ship them straight there. They've already been rendered on the server, and then we can send those because they've been built by the server. So what does that look like? So I built just a simple project. Let's see if I can close this for a sec. And I built this project to kind of maybe illustrate a little more what the differences are. So this one, there we go. So we'll run this one. And so it's a kind of like a little posts app with a little form, and it's connected. I'm running a Docker container that has oops, where did it go? Lost my terminal. I have a Docker container that has let's pull it up here. There we go. Here we go. Maybe. The database, sorry. So we'll run that. Okay. So and then we'll have the console here. Okay, so now when we load this, it's broken. Okay, I need the other one because I still need to. Pull that in. And yeah, it's still broke. Several posts. There we go. Okay. So now that one I need to find the thing for. Okay, so now we have all of our stuff here. If we notice down here, we have all of our posts in here.
Recording in
And
progress.
that's on the client. Because this one is using client-side rendered.
Because this one is using
The page is client-side rendered. So
the page
we
is
will
client-side
see
rendered.
this
So
happening on the client.
we will see this happening on the client.
And then actually
And then
leave that one running. But okay, so now we'll start this one. Actually, we're gonna pull it out. Bring it over here. Okay. I don't know if I can. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now let me load this one. Reload that. So now we don't see it down here on the client side because this is being rendered on the server and then sent over. A couple of things that I specifically noticed when I did this was that if I were to add a new post, we'll just add some stuff here. If I add a new post, now I get everything here posted, but it didn't show up down here. And so, but if I were to go to this one here, and I refresh it, I have, or did it not? Okay, so there we go. So now it deleted that one. And if I were to refresh this one's still here. And it's connected to the same database, but this one was rendered at build time. And so now it's not going to update. And that's one of the main differences that I noticed was that client components can use things like use state, use effect, whereas you can't really do that on the server. So we go back here. So I pulled a lot of this. I kind of paraphrased some of it, but I pulled it from nextjs.org on rendering. And so the good for client components is it allows for user interaction. You can use state, use effect, use reducer. You can use custom hooks that depend on the state, and you have access to browser-only APIs. The bad, it depends on the client's hardware. So like if you have a lot of stuff you're trying to load, it might be real slow for some people because not everybody has the same hardware. But if it's running on the server, you do. So there's not really, like you don't want to be sending your API keys if you have third-party APIs. You can't really like fetch them from the client side. And then yeah, large dependencies will make it slow. When to use server components. They're good when you want to fetch data beforehand, have it all there and ready, access the backend resources directly. With sensitive data, the API keys, access tokens, those are going to stay on your server. They're not going to leave your server. They're not really going to be accessible from the client side. They can handle larger dependencies because you're going to do all that prep work beforehand and then send it to the client. It's going to run on your server, wherever that is. So you have a little more control over that. Some of the bad, you can't access browser-only APIs. It's rendered at build time. That was kind of more of a question I had as well, because that was something I noticed. But I do believe there's ways that you can re-render them for certain, like when you need to. And you can't manage the state. So you can't use effect or use state or use reducer, any of those. And a lot of this, like I said, is also on Next.js's website, so you can learn more about it there. And the awesome part is you can use them together. So you get to decide how you use them. You know, however it works for you, based on, you know, what it is you're trying to do. And that's the awesome part between them, is kind of playing with it and figuring out, you know, what you're trying to accomplish with them. So that's all I really have. It's kind of quick and short.